So you remember Jacob's really long hair last movie? I was wondering, do you think Eclipse it himself? What's going on, guys? We are back again with another excruciating review. This time, part 3 in the Sparkly Vampire Saga, Eclipse. Of course, I am Justin, as cultured a coyote as ever, and you can get more of me and Pretentious reviews here by subscribing to our channel as well as TikTok, and keep up with the latest in movie news by following our Instagram and Twitter as well. Please support our partners, Adventures by Abels and In the Bat Loop on Instagram and YouTube. And if you want the Pretentious Pop Culture, Culture Coyote, and Disney Grizzly t-shirts, head on over to jakesdesignsrw.com where you can find interesting wardrobe designs. All links in the description. And please remember to like this video. It really helps us out. So let's sink our coyote jaws into this one, Eclipse, or as I like to call it, Teenagers Make Horrible Decisions Part 3. So right off the bat, I gotta say this is the first decent film in this franchise. The main actors are really coming into their own, settling into their characters, and they actually have stuff to do. The main conflict is at its most tense so far, especially now that we've gotten mostly past the cringy, really drawn out romance subplots of the previous two films. We pick up shortly after the end of New Moon, and immediately the A-plot is established that there is an army of newborns being bred in Seattle. I wonder if the Crips would have a problem with all these new bloods. So we know from the first one that Bella has to be a vampire, and that the only way that Edward will do it himself is if Bella agrees to marry him. So to remind us of this, the two characters are sitting in this ugly, washed out meadow of flowers, and they're staring lovey-dovey into each other's eyes, saying, "Marry me, turn me, marry me, turn me." And this is pretty much all the chemistry that these characters have. It's just two people staring at each other talking about their feelings. Even Bella's dad is struggling with Bella being back with Edward after seeing her ugly cry and depression tantrums when he left all last movie. Graduation is approaching, and that is the deadline Bella has before she turns into a vampire. We get a nice reunion with Bella's classmates, who are then sidelined for the rest of the movie, and thank God, because everything else we get is a lot more interesting than these characters. Bye-bye, Anna Kendrick. Alice has a vision about the coming newborn vampire army, so they all begin to prepare. A nice sense of foreboding with Bella's fate. Edward flies Bella to visit her mom for a nice, touching goodbye as a last time as a human. Back in Forks, Victoria, who I apologize, but last review, I had her completely mixed up with Rosalie, who is actually a Poland vampire. She's the salty one. Every time I say Rosalie in the last review, just assume that's Victoria. But she is the main antagonist of this movie, and she is running through the woods from both the Colons and the werewolves, who are both kind of trying to stay in their own territory while also going after this person, and she ends up getting away, which is kind of foreshadowing the fact that they need to work together to catch her. What's she doing in the woods anyway? Jacob shows up at school to warn Edward to have his vampire mate stay away from his territory, and he also informs Bella something that Edward's been hiding from her, the fact that Victoria is after her to avenge her mate from the first movie. Bella, being as self-centered as always, cares more about the fact that Jake hasn't been answering her call. Jacob does the healthy thing and says, "I had nothing to say." Good, Jacob. He goes to leave, but Bella follows him, bringing back the toxicity out of Jacob. As she gets on his bike, he looks over at Edward and smirks. The two go visit his wolf brothers, who immediately start making fun of Jacob's emotions right in front of Bella. Not cool. Again, Jacob showing signs of maturity and strength. He just shrugs it off. A new wolfling, Leah, throws shade at Bella. Says probably the smartest line of the whole movie. "Are you here to torture Jacob some more?" Yeah, that's exactly what Bella's doing. Torturing Jacob. And she'll continue to do that the rest of the movie. Someone stop this. Jacob explains imprinting to Bella here, which I could have sworn that happened in the last movie. And it is the act of forming a connection involuntarily with another person that is sort of intimate and protective. but he hasn't imprinted on Bella yet, so there's that. Bella essentially starts flirting with him about it, just holds up the fact that they both have better chemistry together than her and Edward do, until she pisses him off by revealing her deadline for being human, and he has this mood swing and immediately apologizes for it. The Colons have a family meeting, Jacob included, when a bad vampire sneaks into Bella's room and they find out about it. The two lovers fight over how to protect Bella until the vampires agree to ally with the wolves. This movie is actually going somewhere. Jake takes Bella back to his tribe where she learns how the werewolves and the vampires first met. This is really cool because you get all these flashbacks. During an attack from a vampire, the tribe leader's wife sacrifices herself by stabbing herself in the stomach to let the blood distract the vampire long enough for the last remaining werewolf to dispose of the vampire. But if anybody tries to copy this later on, I hope that they realize they don't have to stab themselves in the stomach to create blood. They could have just cut their hand. Hopefully they'll learn from this, and that way they might actually survive. We are also introduced to the very underutilized Seth, who is the youngest member of the tribe. At least the stakes are raised now because the wolf characters have names. Bella and Edward have a nice moment discussing the changes to Bella's personal life after she becomes a vampire. Bella sees Jacob again, who goes toxic, confessing his love for Bella again, and that he doesn't buy that Bella doesn't have feelings for him, and just instantly turns into a Kyle, desperately forcing a kiss from Bella. Go drink a Monster, dude. Instead of Jacob punching drywall, Bella punches him on the cheek, breaking her hand against his super wolf skin. Bella has Carlisle, the Colon father, fix her hand up at the Colon house. We get some of our great backstory with some of the side characters, starting with Rosalie, who hates that Bella is really wanting to become a vampire and resents Bella for wanting it. She explains her origin. She was sexually assaulted by her fiance and his friends and left for dead in the street until Carlisle found her and turned her into a vampire, and she ended up having revenge on the men and saved her fiance for last. Really dark. We find out that a splinter group of the Volturi, led by Dakota Fanning, are monitoring the situation but are rooting for Victoria, and because Alice isn't monitoring them, he can't see the decisions that they're making. And graduation is finally here, and we get Anna Kendrick delivering the farewell speech and saying, "Now is not the time for bad decisions. Bella, you should really pay attention to that." She even says, "Now is the time to fall in love." And Edward and Bella look at each other like, "We did that. We fell in love. That's what we did." And you're just like, oh. Jacob shows up to the graduation party at the Colon house and apologizes again. And Alice has a vision that they have 4 days to prepare until the newborn vampire army arrives. Really hype scene here of Jasper training both the werewolves and the vampires how to fight newborns. We get a lot of fight scenes, but then Alice and Jasper fight. They're together, and it's really cool and kind of hot. Alice is bae. Apparently, the newborns are more powerful and stronger because they still have human tissue in their blood. This is really cool world building, and I wish this kind of stuff was more front and center. Jasper explains his backstory as a Confederate officer who was turned to train newborn vampires for the Confederate Army and then dispose of them afterwards and killing them when their use was done. And it's pretty sad. It's really dark. Some of them were even kids. Alice saved him from that fate and they fell in love. They've been together ever since. Jasper reveals the plan that they will lure the newborns into a clearing while Bella lures them with a blood trail, and Jacob carries her to a safe location, masking her scent with his wolf odor. Of course, Edward hates the plan. Jacob and Bella are alone again, and Jacob just can't move on. He tells Bella that he can sense how she feels about him and that it's possible for her to love 2 different people, which kinda, and that he won't kiss her again until she asks, which is foreshadowing. Bella prepares for the assault. Her dad awkwardly tries to tell her to use protection. This prompts her to confess her virginity. Her dad sighs and chuckles a little bit, saying, "Well, I like Edward a little bit more now." And I thought that was funny. Edward and Bella spend an evening alone together in bed, again having no chemistry here beyond talking about their feelings and the marriage thing. Bella wants to go all the way with Edward while she's still human, but Edward wants to get married first which I agree with Bella. This is stupid. Instead, they start dry humping until it gets too hot. Edward formally proposes to her with his mother's brain. Bella finally grows a few brain cells the next morning and realizes she can contribute by smearing her blood on trees to throw a false scent trail. She also smartly is not wearing her engagement ring. She doesn't want to piss Jacob off before the battle. Jacob goes to carry Bella, and the chemistry here is popping. He greets her, he's like, something up, and she's like, oh, just a couple vampires trying to kill me. Same old, same old. And this is just like so charming, and it's something that they have that she just never has with Edward. Jacob carries Bella up a mountain to a tent where Edward is waiting. A blizzard comes in the night, freezing Bella and forcing Jacob to huddle with Bella to use his warm wolf blood to warm her up. And of course, this pisses Jacob off, especially when he says, I'm the hotter one, which literally he is. And when it comes to attraction, arguably he is. But Edward and Jacob actually have a charming moment here where they both talk about their affections for Bella. These two actually have really good chemistry, probably the best of the franchise. Maybe they should get together. The next morning, Edward makes sure Jacob knows about the marriage by speaking very loudly about it in earshot, which is just a horrible idea, Edward. Edward probably wants to get back at Jacob for him having slept next to Bella. He gets pissed and basically pulls the suicide card by saying, I'm going to run off and maybe I'll even get myself killed, which was already going to do that anyways, kinda. And this is extremely toxic, which forces Bella to feel bad, and she asks him to kiss her, like he said earlier, and he just goes for it, man. They make out. And again, Jacob just getting false signals. I mean, stop, Bella, stop. The newborns arise and the battle ensues, but Victoria leaves the battle to head for Edward, who she knows Bella will probably be with. Bella learns from the werewolf story to distract Victoria with blood, but she actually cuts her arm instead of stabbing herself in the stomach. Again, learning from the tribe leader's wife that you can actually survive distracting a vampire. Edward finishes Victoria off. Jacob is badly wounded with the newborns defeated. And this is kind of where we end the movie, with the sense of foreboding. Bella is definitely going to be turned into a vampire soon now that graduation's over. And that's pretty much it for Eclipse. It really sets up the next film in a way where I'm actually somewhat excited to continue. So overall, I'll give this movie an 8. It's kind of a B. It works as a movie. There's enough setup, some payoff. It is definitely the middle of the road entertaining. It was definitely easier to watch this, especially now that I know the characters. They are learning. Their acting is a little bit better, and there's actual stakes. Bella actually has an arc in this. She learns. There's some final closure with who's Bella gonna choose. I mean, we're never really thinking she's going to choose Jacob, but we do get that final nail in the coffin that this is over, Jacob has no chance, and they both kind of get over it. I really liked all the side characters that we got some backstory on. Jasper and Rosalie really filling out the story in a great way that is a lot more interesting than just the sappy romance. If you want to hear my thoughts on Breaking Dawn Part 1, tune in next week. I'll have that review up, and thanks for tuning in to yet another Pretentious review. Till next time, guys.